that is kind of, from being on the other side when you're
Yeah.
casting stuff, it is something when people are like, no, he's offer only. You're like, oh, well, I want him now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I should never audition again.
I'm never. I told my agent, I was like, unless it's like the creme de la creme, I am not auditioning this year. Just this year, I'm not auditioning. Boom, an audition came in. They're like, you want to read for this small part in a Darren Aronofsky movie? Like, I'll put it down. I'll lay it down. I'll lay it down.
It's breaking bread. We would like to thank the good people at wildgrains.com for sponsoring today's program. We love Wild Grain, the first ever bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, fresh pastas, and artisanal pastries. I mean, if there is anybody that is more appropriate for this program, you can't come up with it. For a limited time, you can get $30 off the first box plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/papa to start your subscription. You heard me. Free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/papa. That's wildgrain.com/papa, or just use the promo code PAPA at checkout. I like to start off the podcast with a little toast.
Great.
It's early, so I've just got water.
I have a sparkling.
I'm going to toast with this one. This is my
coffee?
This is a Fellini coffee.
Yum.
Yeah,
Yum.
they're really good.
Yeah.
I would like to toast you, my friend.
Oh, no.
Because in this time when it's nearly impossible to get any comedy on network TV, you have what appears to be, and I'm not going to jinx anything, but what appears to be a very clearly defined, very funny, like off the bat promo, like you get it, you're in. Like you don't have to like spell it out and say what this is. To get a comedy on network TV is a huge thing. And that you're getting promo during the Olympics.
Thank you very
Bravo.
much. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I will take it. That's amazing of you. Thank you. It's not lost on me. I mean, I like especially the last couple of years, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's been hard. And so the fact that we were able to, I mean, we had been working on this show for 3 years.
Whoa. Are you a producer?
Yeah, I created and wrote it.
Oh, you did? Holy shit. That's
Yeah.
even better.
It's awesome.
Wow.
It's
You know what?
awesome.
We should go out to a liquor store and get something proper to toast
Honestly,
with.
I have not stopped toasting. I have not stopped toasting since the first commercial.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching the men's game.
Yeah.
Because I am a basketball fan. It's like I would be watching the men's game no matter what, and then boom, that first commercial hit, and my whole family, everyone starts screaming.
It's so insane.
It's so insane.
It's called the Throwback.
Yeah, it's called Mr. Throwback.
Mr. Throwback.
Yes, named after a great vintage store in the East Village.
Right.
Real vintage store.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's great.
And Steph Curry.
Stephen Curry. Yes, the great Stephen Curry. Sounds so weird.
It sounds so weird.
Yeah.
And it's so funny how marketing it rolls out and starts to hit you. Like effective marketing, it just kind of like, I saw this little article about Curry being like good at comedy. I'm like, well, that's interesting, and just kind of like see a little bit, and then you roll in, and then there's like a little outdoor thing out, and then it's on the Olympics, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, the story really starts to cascade all over.
Yeah,
you.
marketing it's the first time I've ever really been marketed.
Yeah,
so it's nice. It's nice. Usually the network terms me something called unmarketable, but I guess in this case it's they're letting it slide.
I had a show during the Winter Olympics of 2010, and it was
Nagasaki.
It was where was that? Was Vancouver.
Vancouver.
And it was this little show called The Marriage Ref, which was it was kind of like a reality kind of like dating marriage show, whatever. But anyway,
I remember it.
They started they saw an opportunity to market. Jerry Seinfeld was a producer to market the hell out of it. It was supposed to be just like this little Sunday show, and then they were like, "No, this is the show that's gonna replace Leno at 10, and we're gonna really market the shit out of it." But they never showed me. Every promo was just like my hands.
Jerry.
It was all Jerry. It was all Jerry, and in a way, it was a bit of a blessing because they marketed it so much that during Letterman's top 10 during the Olympics was when the bobsled guy flew off the side. The last things that he says, Please no more marriage ref promos.
Oh my god! So that's where you don't want to bleed into.
You don't. You want to be kind of cool.
And there's a chance we will, you know,
Yeah.
in this just because of the Olympics, just because it's like ubiquitous, and it is, you know, it's like I see all the what anyone could say. It's like,
Yeah, of course.
you know, you're like, you know, what a cheat code to get on television. You know, it's like find the person with 73 million Twitter followers and then bring them to a network.
That's
It's
so crazy.
But
that's kind of your safety. That's your bubble wrap.
Well, I think sometimes you have, especially right now,
Yeah.
it's hard to envision like what gets eyes, what people want to see, and sports is having like a really ascendant moment.
Huge moment.
You know, even not like just basketball, but like, you know,
Just
other
live sport.
Live sport
Yeah.
is like enormous, and it happened really organically in a way that made it feel not gross.
Right.
You know, like for anybody, for any party involved, it felt like, oh, this is actually like feels like the way it should happen if you're
Right.
going to do it.
Right.
You know?
How did it happen? How did you
So
get him?
it super like Hollywood natural story. Like his wife Aisha, who's a lovely, amazing philanthropist and you know, kind of also an eccentric millionaire. She had a game show on HBO Max during like the boom of television, the golden age,
Right.
Which is weird that people call it that because I feel like I missed.
I totally that the golden age was I defined it as the period my agent kept saying it's really slow out there.
Right. Yeah. To me, yeah, it was like there's nothing going on, and then you're like, really? Because every article I read says they're giving out television shows.
Exactly.
But Aisha Curry had a television show that was kind of based on the newlywed game for married couples of all types of entertainment. And
Right.
her and Steph were fans of a show that I did a long time ago called Happy Endings.
Right.
And so they asked me and my wife if we would be on.
Oh.
So we were like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. You know, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So we went on, and my wife and I kind of, you know, jabbed at Aisha and Steph, and they liked it.
Yeah.
And then as we were leaving in the hallway, I passed David Casp and Casey Wilson, who was the creator of Happy Endings, and she was on it with me. And they were the next guests on the show.
Oh.
And David and I are, you know, kind of creative partners. We've created a bunch of television shows like Champagne Hill and Happy Endings and stuff. And he did the same thing I did. He kind of like went at Steph a little, and
Yeah.
Steph went back, and it was just like kind of, you know, you get that vibe. You're like, oh, this guy's funny. And then
Yeah.
the next day, him and his production company called me and David together and said, like, you
What do you
know,
got?
thinking about doing something. You got anything? And we were like,
Whoa.
give us 5 minutes, you know?
That's great.
And we called the Lemon brothers, Matthew and Daniel Lemon, who were writers on Happy Endings and Champagne Ale and all the stuff we've ever
Yeah.
done. And they were like, yeah, let's do it. And the four of us just kind of jammed out this idea and brought it back to them. And we were worried because it's a little dark. It's a little, you know,
Yeah.
it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's irreverent. And he was like, no, let's go and let's push it and let's do it. And I want to shoot it. And then we waited 3 years
What, 3 years?
for the network. Just we went through
Development.
every development thing you could.
People leaving.
Yeah,
People who got
leaving,
it.
people
Fired.
every version of it that you can imagine
Yeah.
happened.
God, it is so insane that it's every
Writer's
time.
strike,
The strike,
Yep.
the pandemic.
writer's strike, pandemic, every version of it.
But you got through it.
And then the strike was lifted, and we got a call. Like, I guess the strike was like officially lifted in November, and we got a call in February that said you're greenlit and you're airing on August 8th.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's crazy. After shooting just the pilot?
we'd only written the pilot.
You'd only written the pilot and you got greenlit.
Yeah,
Holy cow. Oh, man, that's so great.
it was an awesome feeling, and then it was terrifying because you were like in the middle of it. Like, this is like Valentine's Day,
Right.
and you're like, we have nothing. We have nothing.
Right.
We have nothing. You know, in a big
Yeah, how far from what you pitched initially of just like jam out an idea and let's get the sale to it being what it is? Is it pretty close?
It's very close.
Yeah.
It's almost it's better.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the few times I will say, like, you know, I've been in every situation with every sort of network, with every sort of network executive, with every sort of cliche that you've ever
Yeah.
heard, and how they're all true.
Yeah.
I've heard them all.
Right.
This was the best version I've ever had of that.
Wow.
Where the network was like, hey, this is weird and we know it, and it's where you're on a limb, but Steph likes it, and so
That's
here are our
huge.
notes, and their notes made it better because usually we go too hard. I think we go too hard sometimes, and we don't want to. I mean, this guy's,
Yeah.
presidential almost.
So huge.
Huge. So you don't want to
So
ruin
huge.
that
Yeah.
with your reference.
No, right, exactly. Does
So you really
does
have to-
does he ever give you
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll give us notes. He'll
Yeah.
be like, and he'll give notes because it's improvised a lot. So sometimes we'll be on stage and going, and then the dailies will come in, and he'll be like, "I think we went too hard there." And
Right,
he'll be like,
right.
"Got it, copy."
Is that his sensibility? Does he have
No, his sensibility is like he has like a comic sensibility.
Uh-huh.
Riff with him and kind of roast and then also at the same time he can do bits, and he's got all that. He's
Wow.
just very wholesome and has a
Right.
very strong sense of himself and his brand and what he wants to accomplish in the future. So it's like
Right.
he's like, no, let's just cut that off.
Right. So he knows.
Yeah.
Man, I remember I was at I don't know if it was a Laker game or a Knick game, but he wasn't playing. He was in street clothes just on the edge of but the charisma of that guy. I mean, it's not just on what he's accomplished on the court. Like this guy had just the way he would stand, the way he would just joke with people. It's small, subtle, but it's pure charisma.
Yes, one of his very close adult friends is Obama, and they talk a lot. And I don't know, there's been articles written about his presidential aspirations. I don't know if any of that is really true, but I do know that it feels like you're with
Right.
someone of that, like a presidential force, the way he moves through the world, the way the day is scheduled, the way that
Right.
the people that he comes in contact with are only uplifting to him. It's he then uplifts others down.
Yeah.
there's no bullshit in his life.
God, it's so crazy. Do you
And-
think he was always that way?
No,
You think he cultivated it and built it? And
I think his dad was an NBA player. And one of the best. Del Curry, I think, is underrated as an NBA player. When I was a kid, Del Curry was known as the best shooter. I mean, when you played NBA Jam, you wanted the Hornets so you could have Del Curry.
Right.
He was the best shooter.
Right.
And he lived a very wholesome life. And I think Steph grew up exceptional.
Right. Yeah.
And we make a joke about it in the show, Steph's like, anybody can do it. And I'm like, well, I mean, anybody whose dad is an NBA player and has the probably 1 millionth percentile of hand-eye coordination. Anyone like that can do it, sure.
Yeah.
But there is that. He is exceptional.
Yeah.
And he doesn't mess around with, he doesn't ever nothing. Yeah,
it's a fascinating thing to think about because there's so many elements that could derail that.
Yeah,
Life.
He's got kids. He's got 4 children.
Yeah, and even before that,
Sure.
you become good friends with a not great guy, or
Sure.
you get in a long-term relationship with someone very unhealthy.
Yes.
Or there's so many things. It's almost like there's I don't know if there is, but it definitely conjures up the thoughts of some people have this destiny vibe to it.
Yes.
Obama is a perfect example of it.
Yeah.
These people and you look back at their life, it's things kind of.
I think it's destiny, but I also think it's a frequent. It's there is a certain frequency when you're around people. I think people are quick to cut it down. There's stories about a young Brando walks in the room and lights it up, and people are like, oh yeah. However,
Yeah.
I think at the time, a young Marlon Brando walks in a room and he's like, "What the fuck are we doing?" You know, it's like people are like, "Oh,
yeah,
whoa."
Not even talking.
Yeah, just kind of like, and you're like, "Whoa." So I think there are people like that,
100%,
like just operate at that frequency that makes things move. Like when he's around, it's like you know that movie Phenomenon?
Yeah,
It's like things move, people elevate, things.
Energy.
Everybody's on their P's and Q's. Everybody's moving. The lines are crisper. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
And it's one of the things that I was like, "Oh, I'm taking that with me." Like, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
But any set I now walk on, like, I'm operating up here.
Right.
Because like that's what he does. And
Yeah.
It
like a level of professionalism.
It doesn't matter what's going on here.
Yeah.
It's just like I'm walking in and we're in it. We're professional, and I'm here for you. Whatever you need.
Right.
And then he will go like, "Okay, I'm out."
Really? Yeah. What is filming like? Is it?
Yeah,
like
it's
that?
like no, he's
like
super. He'll be like, but he will be like, "Okay, I got to train for an hour today at lunch. Like I got to shoot for an hour."
Wow.
And so he'll be like, "Great," and then the AD will be like, "Holy shit, I'm having a heart attack." But you pull it together. But you do it because it's Steph. And
Yeah,
it's
of
like,
course.
Whatever.
So, your character, is the kind of antithesis of everything you're describing.
Yes, without giving too much away.
Yeah.
Because I have signed all this.
Yeah.
Which is so weird to sign stuff when it's like, I thought of this.
Right. I can tell whoever I want.
Didn't I think of this? They're like, you did, but you didn't. I'm like,
it's ours now.
Yeah. But yes, I play his childhood best friend.
Right.
From I was the only Jew at Charlotte Christian. And I was on the basketball team with him, and he was my backup. And we cut to many years later, and we've kind of lost touch, and my life is kind of not great. And I sell memorabilia and vintage apparel, and I've gotten myself in some trouble with Chicago's kind of underbelly. And so I need a lot of money really quick, and the only person that I know in my entire life that could do that is Stephen Curry.
Right. And when I was saying in the beginning with the toast, that all comes without knowing the details of it. Your character, his character, it's an odd couple-ish kind of a thing that you completely get it and you're in and you want to go.
Yeah.
And you have such a good way of conveying it because you have that thing that the great kind of messy ends of the duos have, which is there's a real you care for those kind of people.
Yeah.
Like there's some that are offensive and like they're just big and brash.
Yeah.
But there's a something that is like, no, this guy, I think I might need to help this guy.
Yeah. I think that those are the like there is something for the leading man of like the leading man of like Man versus Earth, right? All that Joseph Campbell stuff, right?
Yeah.
And the man, when you're watching those leading men, it's like you don't want to feel you want Tom Cruise to fucking know exactly what he's gonna do, and
right?
If he doesn't, he will figure out how. And you don't ever want to like lose that.
Yeah.
I'm not that. Like, there's a certain element of like, no matter what's going on outside, it's kind of man versus himself because he's always getting in his own way.
Right.
And I think that there's like, I don't know if that's a skill or an inherent way that I've just learned, just like doing a lot of scenes.
You've done so many scenes,
and not even on stage, and not even in just like from the time I was 19, I was at the UCB, just like scenes. And there's only really like 4 things you ever play,
right?
So you just like you just kind of find a way about you, I think, and I think I just found my way.
It's really impressive.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, I just looked up IMDb last night just to check in on you.
Oh God,
and it's like over 90 different acting thing. I mean, it's a ton. It's a lot. And it's such a cool thing because actors get this thing where they've done so many scenes, they've done so much stuff that people they know exactly what you're going to add, what you're going to do, and it becomes like a cool thing that they can add to projects.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to get there, and you've done it.
Well, I wish I was able to be added to more. You know, like the amount, like
always.
I mean, everyone feels that way, and I think that the lucky thing for me is that I've been able to rely on my like learned writing comedic chops, which is like that's the only way I get anything. True
is
like,
creating it yourself.
Truly, like like any audition I've ever done is throwing a fucking videotape off a cliff.
I literally was thinking that this morning after I got my coffee. I was like, there is one way I could go in this interview, and it's you just telling me how to audition, because I think I've only gotten 2 jobs through auditioning. The rest has been making
That's
it
one
myself.
more than me.
That's
one more than me.
Terrible.
And anything I've ever done is like a small part or something where someone saw something and they were like, "Can you do this?" It's
right.
Like, and you just have to say yes, and then you grow and grow and grow. Like the amount of time a director has seen a audition tape of mine, and been like, "I want him," is one.
Why is that? I mean, you're talented.
I don't know. And my agents know it. Like when I was on a show called Making History, and they were like, we're not sure we want to do a chemistry read. My agents were like, no, it's either it's offer.
He's gonna blow it.
And they were like, this is the last. We'll go down and quote. No chemistry read.
That is kind of, from being on the other side when you're casting stuff, it is something when people are like, no, he's offer only. You're like, oh, well, I want him now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I should never audition again.
I told my agent, I was like, unless it's like the creme de la creme, I am not auditioning this year. Just this year. I'm not auditioning. Boom, an audition came in. They're like, you want to read for this small part in a Darren Aronofsky movie? Like, I'll put it down. I'll lay it down. I'll lay it down.
And then it ruins your whole day.
And then I sucked. My agent was like, can you do it again? It doesn't really look good. I'm like, look good. Great. Did it again, sent it in. Now it's going to be.
Who reads with you when you do it?
My wife, who's like, am I Carl?
I know, this isn't about you.
And you're like, oh my God, just read. You know how to read. And it's like, and then she feels bad, and then she's like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. And then you're like, well, I don't want you're like, I don't want
the energy.
any of this. And then you're like, maybe I'll just do it by myself.
And then that doesn't work because you're not feeding off of anybody else.
Yeah, and you're just saying, like,
I do a lot of those.
Just throwing it off a cliff. It really is. It's like there's no.
It's terrible.
And the only way that the only advice I would ever give is like find. Like, I met David Cass when I was 26, and we did Happy Endings, and immediately I was like, I'm never leaving your side. I'm never, no matter where you go, I am going. I'm like, cling to you. And then
on your coattails.
Yeah, and then him and my mutual best friend got married, and so I was like, well, now I can't. Where am I gonna go? So he did shows with her, and then he was like, well, I can't really work with my wife, and I was like literally at the doorstep, like, ding dong, come back over here. I need you.
Yeah.
And then it's like when you have a writer and a producer that's already there, like he's the type of showrunner now creator, like, they need him. The networks need him.
Right.
There's only like 5 of those guys.
Yeah.
That are needed to make shows.
Yeah, it's really true.
In the machine. And luckily I linked up with him at 26 and will not leave.
Yeah.
I will not leave.
100%.
And then the Libmans were like his number 2s, and I now will not let them leave.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, we're not leaving.
It's all about community.
And every time another actor comes and the Libmans were like, how great are they? I'm like, they're great. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, I know, exactly. My daughter is just graduated college, and she's going into this business, and
awesome.
She's a writer and all that stuff.
Great.
And it's such a funny moment because it's the beginning where they don't know anybody or anything, and it's like, my only advice is go to New York and meet people.
Yeah.
Just start.
That's the only thing.
Just start meeting people and becoming friends with people, and you're going to build your little tribe, and you're all going to go together.
Yeah, you just go there. Like, I started at the UCB by just going there.
Yeah, just showing up.
Just showing up.
Yeah.
Like, I went to the first one, and was like, wow, this is amazing. Are there any cheaper nights? And then started showing up to those nights.
Yeah.
And then was just kind of taking classes and interning and to pay for the classes. And then the next thing you know, you're in a sketch show that's, going to Montreal.
Right. It's such a great thing.
Yeah, it's the best.
It is the best. Wild Grain is the first ever bake from frozen subscription box for sourdough breads, fresh pastas, and artisanal pastries. Every item bakes from frozen in 25 minutes or less, no thawing required. I have it in my freezer. I've got different types of breads. Some are just fancy breads that you just want to have on their own, maybe some cheese. A lot of times I'm baking for my family, cooking for my family, and we want a bread, and I forget, like, oh man, I forgot the baguette at the store. Wait a minute. And I open up the freezer and I look inside, and guess what? There's a Wild Grain bread in there. Just heat up the oven, throw it in, doesn't have to thaw, and in 25 minutes, I have this great bread and a great addition to my meal. Wonderful. I mean, yeah, I know I say it every time, but I've always thought, how do I send great bread places? And I was like, oh, that's impossible. You can't do it. Wild Grain did it. And now they're a sponsor on my program. They are so kick-ass. And it really is legit good stuff. You know I'm a bread snob. For a limited time, you can get $30 off your first box plus free croissants in every box when you go to wildgrain.com/papa to start your subscription. You heard me right. Free croissants in every box and $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/papa. That's wildgrain.com/papa. Or you can use the promo code PAPA, Papa, at checkout. Thank you to the good people at wildgrain.com. Let me tell you about our history.
You and me?
You and me. It's funny because I was looking through the emails and stuff to make sure that you were coming the right place this morning. So I just looked up your name, and I got a thing from May 4th of 2014 that Adam liked one of my tweets.
I'm sure I did.
It says my tweet was coffee, paper, Coltrane, interrupted by wife, kids, and cats. # Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, that's
favorited by Adam.
Well, I mean, that's like exact. I mean, it's such a.
It's a dad thing.
It's a dad thing. I mean, because it's
dad.
like you wake up, no one's kind of up yet. You're like, ooh, you're like, wow, this is so nice.
This is so
you
nice.
Make your coffee extra. You take the extra time with it because you're like, no one's up. You're like,
smell it before you.
Yeah, you're like, I'm white, but I'm a cool. I'm gonna put on jazz. And in your head, you're like, my daughter's going to come down and be like, what's this, Dad? And then what really happens is like shriek from upstairs. Kid comes running down. Dog barks 1,000 times. Son is like, I didn't do it.
Right. A loud bang.
Loud bang. Yeah. Get back up here right now. Adam, tell him to come up here. Oh, Will.
Adam.
What? What the fuck is this music?
It's Coltrane.
It's jazz. Don't you curse at me. What does she want?
You don't get it. Young fatherhood is, the whole time was hearing something loud bang and waiting for a split second. Is this an emergency? Is this just something annoying? Is this just hearing boom?
Yeah. The unknown.
And then
the unknown.
Terror.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm almost, my youngest is 7 and I'm almost out of it. Like he's pretty on his own.
Wow.
So it's like I feel like I survived a war a little bit.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Young kids are so hard.
When the youngest, I vividly remember being in bed and hearing my youngest, hearing boom, 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 like, and then hearing noises in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And hearing the sound of cereal going into the bowl. It was like, she's doing cereal by herself.
Yeah, we just hit that.
She's doing cereal by herself.
Because that means that you can finally close your eyes at night without the terror of the early call.
Yeah,
Which is
right.
Like, there's no way around the early call, like anxiety.
Where'd you shoot this show?
This show we shot in Chicago.
Chicago. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
which is
cool.
great. The best. I would shoot everything in Chicago. I
Yeah.
don't know why we don't.
Yeah.
It's bullshit going all over the fucking world. I hate it.
It's really the worst.
It's the worst.
I can't believe that there's nothing in LA.
Why
all of these studios,
Yeah.
this infrastructure, and just they let it all go.
And there's nothing shoots in Universal Studios at all.
Nothing.
Universal Studios, it's wild.
It's like a ghost town.
Yeah, and then they ship you off to London. I lived in London for like 6 months last year. I lost like 20 pounds. Not that I wanted to.
What a nightmare.
Yeah, I was living off beer. I was like, this sucks. Like, you're like, I got hit by a car.
You did?
Yeah.
No.
Looked the wrong way.
What?
Yeah, I was just like, I just like, why? And
What's that feel like, getting hit by a car?
it was scary, but it was also like, I lived. It was fine.
Yeah.
Like, I was scared, but
It's terrifying.
yeah, it was terrifying. But I lived, and then like immediately walked back because it was raining. I couldn't get an Uber.
Of course.
And I walked back to my hotel. I sat down. I was like, why am I not in Los Angeles?
Yeah. It makes no sense. It makes
This is
no
wild.
sense.
My house is in a place called Studio City.
Right? I know. And
And I'm in like fucking Birmingham, England. Like, what the fuck?
you have a house there just to have a meeting.
Yeah.
That is then going to send you.
To Louisiana.
Right?
I know. I don't understand how this can be good for Hollywood, but whatever.
I don't know why. Really don't. It seems like, I mean, I don't know anything, but it seems like if you let that movie and television business leave Hollywood, you've made a big mistake as the mayor of Hollywood.
Yeah, like I don't know who is in charge of that, but I will say, like all I know is that we shot the first 80% of this in Chicago, and it went smooth, like, and it was hectic as hell, but it could not have been smoother. The crew was great, everything was great, and then we had to go to California to shoot Steph's part, and as soon as we got to California, all hell broke loose.
Really?
Production wise, just because everyone was like, this costs so much. This costs 3 times as much as Chicago. So you're like,
my
okay.
God.
You're like, why? Why?
Yeah.
Isn't this where they have it?
Yeah.
Like, it's sunny all day. Why can't we shoot outside? Like,
So
it's like
insane.
And you're just there's so much red tape and weird shit in California. You're like, I don't understand why this can't just be like Chicago. Like,
Someone's got to correct it.
they have to. I don't know why they wouldn't want to.
I know. I mean, aren't they building like a giant Netflix studio in like New Jersey?
I think I drove by it the other day to my aunt's house on 280.
Yeah.
There's like this enormous. I saw like giant blue screens through what used to be like a shoe leather factory.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, LA really fucking blew it.
They how
New Jersey.
How great that New Jersey, which is coming from New Jersey, like there was always like a pride when they would
Yeah.
talk about the movie business. Well, it started in Hoboken.
Yeah. You're like,
wow, New Jersey, we had it for a split second.
But
and
it is-
now it's back, baby.
But you're inevitably going to run into the same reason people left the East Coast in the beginning. Is like the weather and sunshine make it easier to shoot. Like what are we not getting?
What are we right?
I
Exactly.
don't understand. Like
Yeah.
it's better to shoot in California. Why are we not doing it?
Did you live in New Jersey?
I grew up in New Jersey. Yeah.
You grew up in New Jersey.
My parents, I had a kind of all over upbringing. My parents were, when I was born, were in a like a Catskill cover band.
Oh,
called
really?
Pally and Pal. And my father would play piano at like the Empire Diner. And then they would go on the weekends, like tour like the Tamament and
Wow.
Kutchers and stuff.
Wow.
And then
And
when
you're-
I was like 8, my dad was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he went back to medical school and we all moved to Chicago. And then after his residency, we moved back to New Jersey. So from like 12 to 18, I lived in New Jersey.
Wow. So you bounced a little when you were young.
Yeah.
That's hard.
It was,
It's always a little.
yeah, I mean, everything's hard.
Yeah. I know.
Everything's hard.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their thing.
And where in Jersey?
Livingston?
Oh, in Livingston. Nice.
Yeah.
I was North Jersey.
Oh, like Bergen?
Yeah, Bergen. Yeah.
Yeah, I love.
Park
I mean,
Ridge
like
and
Jersey's
Montvale.
great.
It is great.
I love New Jersey.
I know.
I don't want to live there, but I love it.
I think I could live there. My wife is from there too.
Yeah, my wife's from
She
Livingston.
does not want to move back there.
No, I don't have a ton of connection anymore to it, but I love. Like my aunt still is there, and my sisters live in Westfield now.
Oh, okay.
So I go to Westfield quite a bit.
Yeah, by Cranford.
If I Cranford, but which they tell me every time there's a train. Like, I'm not taking the fucking train out there.
Yeah, exactly. We do a little thing on this show called Uncomfortable Moment,
Great.
where
And it's not the chairs?
where our research no, where the
This is fucking...
is it a bad chair?
It's just got one of those, like, soft middles.
Oh, really?
You know, where, like, the edges where you're like, am I in a toilet?
That's terrible. They just redid all of this, so it looks like the Comedy Cellar downstairs.
Really?
Yeah, it used to be different. So our researchers do a deep dive on you, and then this is an uncomfortable moment. You're a big basketball fan,
Yes.
and you're playing this role in Mr. Throwback.
Yes.
When's it start?
August 8th.
August 8th. And you play, you're always playing a character's just yourself, not that far from your four moves.
Sure, I like to think of it like a thin veil.
Yeah. But you give off a vibe that isn't very Hollywood, not like you're going to get caught up in your appearance and stuff like that.
I'll take that as a compliment, I guess.
I guess. But then...
What do you mean, I guess?
Well, because...
So it's not?
Well, you do this... Well, that was a compliment, but this photo contradicts how you're living your life. You want to explain your steroid use and what's
First of
underneath
all,
your jacket?
Yes, I do want to say, and this is no shade to anybody else, but that is my head on Kumail Nanjiani's body.
Are you saying this is doctored? Are you trying to say that that's
No.
not you?
It is. I do. You know, I really appreciate it though, because thank you for doing that. Because I just read an article the other day about like how actors have to be in impeccable shape because they're. I think the theory behind it was like they're supposed to be the best of us, and why on screen would I watch something that makes me feel like it was like one of those think pieces, like where it's like the death of the Jack Black or whatever, and I was like, what?
What did you say about my hero?
Like, does everybody think this? Like, is this is a growing opinion? I thought there was room for everybody.
Yeah, right, exactly. I had an agent, I just talked about this the other day, that told me when I was first starting, he said, like, so which way are you going to go? I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He's like, well, you either got to go fat or you got to go in shape. This in between doesn't really sell.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
People have said that to me so many times. They're like, it's hard. I've gotten feedback on so many things. Like, it's hard. You're not like the guy, but you're not like the fat guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're like, wait.
And you're like, so what am I, the guy?
Can I just be me?
Can I just be the guy? Why can't the guy just be me?
Do you ever have a weight thing because of that? Like, you feel like I got to dial it in?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people that would work with like Aiden Mayari, who I just worked with, play my ex-wife on the show, says that I have like body dysmorphia from it. I think I probably do a little bit, but I'm not a ripped guy. Like I try to be I work out a ton, like way too much to look like this.
Right, me too.
It's like if you saw my workouts, you'd be like, "Whoa, you should be in shape." Like
I have this streak on Peloton that I keep telling people. It's like a 256-week streak. It's like almost 5 years.
that's amazing.
And it's like I should look amazing.
You should look. You do. First of all, you do look amazing. But yeah, like I don't know. I have a tonal, which is like the weightlifting Peloton.
Oh yeah.
And I've had it for a year and a half, and I'm at almost 2 million total pounds lifted, which is like an amazing amount.
It is an amazing amount.
And I look like shit.
You look great.
No, but you know what I mean. Like,
I do
it's
know
like,
what you mean. I carry the same thing.
It's just whatever. It's
I
what
carry
it's
the
gonna
same
be.
thing.
And then I feel like I'm a little younger than you, so I have like tattoos and stuff, which doesn't age. It's like a 42-year-old man with like tattoos all over his body. It's like such a hard look.
I'm getting to the age. I was talking to Craig Ferguson about this, and he's like, "No, the cool thing about reaching a certain age is it's tattoo time."
Well, but you know, there's a difference between it's tattoo time and then having those since you're 26,
right?
And they're all like faded and weird, and then you're like, take your shirt off. People are like, "Oh,
you're one of those guys."
Why have that guitar on your arm? You're like, it was a hobby.
Yeah,
a little.
That's amazing. 2 million pounds.
I know. I should be jacked.
Yeah, it really comes down to
Diet and sleep
and this is my heart work. That's really why I'm
I hope
out.
that I hope
my
that
mood and my
yes,
art.
I hope the ticker, and I hope it offsets. Like I do like alcohol. Like it's hard.
Yeah,
That's the number. I think that's the worst thing. Like probably I
know.
do.
They're really coming hard at alcohol right
coming
now.
really hard at us. And
Every article.
I know it's bad, but it's also
know.
like
The best. My wife and I woke up yesterday and we're like, screw this drinking. We're in New York. We're,
Yeah.
and we're seeing people. And it was like, we just woke up feeling like shit yesterday. And it was like, let's not tonight.
Right,
You're
right.
Like, you know what? Let's cool.
Yeah.
And then we met up with my family for my mother's birthday. And I
Yeah.
was like, what do you want to drink? My wife was like, white wine. I was like, martini.
Yeah.
I was like, what happened?
Yeah.
It was like, well, we're going to have fun right now.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, like, and I feel like I live for dinner. The only thing I really enjoy in the world is dinner anymore. Like all I want. I think about it when I wake up is like, how is this night?
Yeah.
How's this going to end at dinner? Like,
Right.
what's going to be the dinner?
What are we gonna eat?
What are we going to eat tonight?
Yeah.
What's going to be? And I'll wait for a bigger one. I'll like not eat as much. It's like I'm just waiting for dinner. And a lot of times dinner involves like it's like, well, if I'm eating dinner, want to be drinking alcohol.
Yeah, it's dinner time.
It's dinner time. Time to take a little break.
Do you cook?
I'm not a great cook.
No.
No, I'm a good orderer.
You good orderer. Is that how does your wife cook?
No,
You're both
she's a
orderer.
better orderer. We're great orderers.
Did you grow up with
My mother cooked.
Your mother
My
cooked?
mother was a very good cook. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just ate it.
What did she make?
She was one of those good, like, like a teriyaki salmon would come out of nowhere, or like a London broil would
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, it'd be like a London broil would be thrown at you, and you'd be like, Jesus Christ, like,
Wow, Mom.
yeah, or like a roast chicken, and you'd be like, wow, this is incredible. Where did this come from? Did you kill this chicken? But the that never translated down.
Yeah, because she
No.
was doing it covertly.
Yeah, and she's busy. She worked. It was like latchkey. Like she'd come home.
What did she do?
She ran my dad's office.
Oh, yeah? And what kind of doctor was he?
He was an osteopathic internist. He still is. Now he's in the city running around.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Do they live in the city?
My father lives on like 61st and Columbus.
Okay. So they gave up New Jersey?
Yeah, well, my mother passed away, and then my father was like, why am I living in New Jersey?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I mean, you took me here.
There really is that thing is like my daughter was saying, I think you and Mom should go to more plays and go out and do more things.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, well, we got to get out of the valley.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay.
If you live in New York, any night you could just take a stroll.
And that's what he want. He was like, especially that time, he was like, I don't want to be here. So he moved here, and he's been here since.
Did he start dating again?
He remarried.
He remarried.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's
Good. Someone to take care of him.
Yeah, right.
He's going to end up in my basement. I know it.
It's definitely going to happen.
Yeah, I know it. And every time he comes over, he like, what's the deal with the basement? I'm like, why do you fucking care? And then I'm like, oh, right.
What's the deal with the
It's
basement?
like, was the gym going to always be down there? I'm like, why do you? Oh, right. You're looking at square footage.
You're hanging up posters.
Yeah, he's not going to my sister's. He's like, I'm going to stay in the city.
Yeah. Back to the charisma thing. The is it something that do you think you're sharing the screen with Stephen Curry and you have charisma? You've been cast in a ton of stuff because you have a thing.
Riz.
You've got some Riz. Do you think, using as example, like when you said I'm going to show up on set and be ready to go and a little more, like you could actually build on the Riz?
Yes, I think that's learnable 100%. Yeah. I think I know that I always wasn't this good at it. Like it takes a lot of reps to get really good at to get really good at a scene in television, to like be able to be given sides on the day that have changed a million times and like lock it in and then find a funny way to do it. It's like that's a skill in its own right, and I've gotten to be really good at it because of the reps. Like just doing like 5 years of network television between Happy Endings and Mindy Project back to back. You just like you just
Learn
become a machine.
Yeah.
And then I think I've had a bunch of failures in my career, and not all of them, and a lot of them are my fault. Like,
What do you mean?
well, I mean, like, you know, like Making History, for example, we were like really well reviewed, and right around the time they were deciding on whether or not I was going to get picked up, I got arrested. And
For what?
For drug possession. So
In LA?
NBC, yeah, New York. So
New York.
NBC was like, I mean, it didn't stick or anything, and it wasn't, you know, it was just whatever. One of those nights, but
Wrong place,
wrong time. But that probably wasn't great, and like, you know,
they took judgment on that when they were deciding.
I think probably, and I think that they probably should have. Like,
Right.
It was not good, and like, I think a lot of times just like spoken out of turn or done a bit that didn't land, or you know, I think that as positive as those things have been in my career, because they do create a sort of like aura and story about you, and I think probably people kind of think I'm a bit of like a badass or whatever,
right,
or not. They're not always good for you,
right?
And I think I learned, and I think I was like really ready at this time, and coming off of like a bunch of time not working, I think I was really ready to like come to like step back in the role of like number one and be like, I know how to do this differently now, and I think I know how to do it so that I think I know how to make everybody feel that Riz.
Right.
And I think
it's interesting because there is that thing of you kind of have to live that way to create the kind of, you know, you're finding it too.
Yeah.
And then there are guys that spin out, and I would always watch them like, how do these people, I'm working so hard and I'm going to bed, and these people, like, someone has to get that guy to set. Like, he can't do it on his own. He can't even show up on time on set. It's very rare to, not saying that you were at that extreme, but to cultivate that and then be like, okay, I know these beats and I can make this work I can actually make this work.
Well, I never was like, never like that. I always loved work and was always 100% there for work, but I was young and wild. And I think sometimes when you're young and wild outside of work, you can also, you know, like, I think I also cultivated a bit of like I don't know, like legend around me.
Yeah, which is great.
And it is. It's cool. And I revere it a lot of times because some people won't come up to talk to me, and I'm like, that's great. Let's stay there. But at the same time, it's not. There's been many times where it's proven to not be good because you bringing all of that with you to work.
Right.
And I learned, I think, from that how not to.
Right.
And how to bring your best self to work. And Stefan, while he may have not had any failures really in his life, although he talks a lot about being underrated and having, you know, been told he had weak ankles and like, you know, he was too small and stuff, like, he just was like, whatever, I'm going to operate on this like super open, earnest level with you and whoever it is. And I think that I was just ready to kind of be like, oh,
yeah, I can do this.
I can do that.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a cool thing. We do a little taste test on this.
Great.
If we were in LA, I would have baked you bread.
I saw that you were baking.
I bake a lot of bread.
Is that pandemic?
No, it was before pandemic.
And is it all sourdough? Because I heard sourdough is the best bread for you.
Yeah, it is. And
it's like living, right?
Exactly. And it's breaking down its own sugars and
right. It's like yogurt.
Yeah. It's fermented. It's heavily fermented in its own yeast, and it's breaking stuff down, and it's great. And I would have, but I'm on the road right now, so I couldn't do it.
No worries. I didn't expect it.
Well, good. But I liked to hear like what your mom made, and I like the finer things, but also I like trash. because I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah,
and
person.
I'm a garbage person.
Of course.
And I've been doing this thing recently, and if you'll indulge me, a little review of some trash that I found.
Let's do it.
And I've been going hardcore on Pringles this summer because these Pringle people have really gone completely batshit crazy. And that there used to be one Pringle, and now there's like 50.
No, this is from America. This is not from, like, you didn't order this from another country?
No, this is this is actually Mike over there on the board was telling me I'm really failing by not going to the Chinese markets and getting burritos that are in those places.
There's quite a few of those flavors, but I'm actually excited for this. Now, is this going to be like a Hot Ones type deal? Because that pepper at the bottom, the flame, coming out of the pestle, is something that I'm like, I don't know if they've ever used a pestle.
I doubt it.
You don't cook from that thing. And if it's on fire, you don't want to use it.
No, right, exactly. It should not be on fire. It's adobada. Is that how you say it? Adobada?
Yes, I believe so.
Adobada. You do it, Papa. I'm not taking a swing at.
Like I said, I've learned how to do this. Certain things you don't.
Yeah. So I mean, it looks good. It's got lime on it, and it's naturally and artificially flavored. Like I said, trash. Let's see how we do.
I feel like for a Pringle, you need to.
Yeah, 100%. Pringles are really the mini bar. Like when I'm dialed in and I'm going to try and be good. If I walk into a hotel and there's a mini bar, there's Pringles, gone within 2 seconds.
Yeah. You know, the other thing with Pringles, and this is maybe, I certainly don't want to be defaming them. They're so easy to eat. I'll frame it that way. They're so easy to eat because the seasoning is always light. Mm-hmm. Like even that, which has a little kick.
Which is nice, though.
Little lime. Yeah, it's not. It's like very easy to eat. Yeah. Whereas sometimes you pop a chip and you're like, whoa.
Right, exactly.
And like,
this is more salt than I need for the week.
Yeah, exactly. Like this I could do.
Enchilada Adobada by Pringles. I like it.
Yeah, how are you rating? What's your
up to 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say that as a 7 chip.
Yeah.
7.5.
Yeah, I might go 8. I like it. Good job, Pringles.
Yeah, I mean, not really, though. Like, stick with what you know. There's no need for this, but... I mean, sure.
It shouldn't really exist.
It shouldn't really exist, but since it does, great job. And it's kind of replicating other flavors. Like, it feels a little bit like... if they didn't put that lime on there, we would be eating their spicy barbecue flavor.
Yeah, they could. Right, they could literally put a pizza on there.
Yeah,
and be like
pizza flavor, spicy pizza flavor,
which they do have actually.
I'm sure this may be also regional.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, like this. I feel like this spice. It's not always in a pestle.
No, in Ohio, it's beef.
Yeah, cheese curd in Wisconsin.
Oh, that's amazing. What is your favorite road treat?
Like what's in the mini bar. I always do look for the chip right away.
Yeah.
Like the chip is the first thing to go for a mini bar because I'm not a dark chocolate guy, which seems to have taken over the mini bar industry.
It kind of makes me moody.
Dark chocolate? Yeah. I just don't want it. It's like maybe I'll have it if I'm like drinking a brandy or something, but I just never want
red wine.
I never want it. Like, and if I'm snacking, I want a good chip. And the bummer is that the chips they have in mini bars are all like artisanal now, so you never really know what you're getting.
Right, exactly. That's the thing about highly processed 7-Eleven kind of fare.
Yeah, you know why
exactly what you're getting.
I mean, that's why fucking Donald Trump only eats McDonald's, right?
Right.
That and he's a trash hole, but he's also like,
right. And he's
but he did right. I did a show about him for a year, and it made me insane. And
when was that?
That was like right when he won, like 2016. It was the President Show on Comedy Central. And
it must
writing,
have driven you
it made me insane.
That's
like,
too insane.
Creating and writing that show was a nightmare. I didn't think it at the time.
Yeah.
I thought I was like taking shots at the bow, but then you slowly realize you're like part of it, and you just lose it. You lose it.
Yeah.
you lose it.
How long did you do it?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. Were you happy when it was over?
Yes.
You were.
Yes. It was. We were sad because again, like it was really cathartic to be able to like see something you disagreed with and then like comedically dissect it and just and then it became like so much. It's just like your shoulders started to hurt.
Yeah. I remember doing press and I walked into the Fox building here in, I'm sure you're running around and doing a ton.
Yeah.
And you go into that building and you like feel it.
Oh yeah.
It's like
being in Berlin in the 40s.
If you worked here, you're not going to make it.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going through swiping your ID and going into that building. Like we're talking about, like certain people, that place.
Yeah, no, it has a feeling about it. Yeah, I know it's weird, it's icky, but just the amount of news coverage. Like people that do the Daily Show and stuff, I'm amazed that they're able to stay sane. It's just so hard, the amount of crap that we deal with, and then you have to like. So, that show kind of made me put my head under a pillow. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's insane, the power of that guy. That
I hate it.
That it's been like this black hole of energy. I
don't want to hear about it
for so long.
I just don't want to hear about it. I just want it to be over.
Just be done.
Just want to be like,
done.
Release me from this.
I know.
I truly, that's how I feel. Like,
he's eaten up too much of our
release
years.
Release me from this. It's been 8 years already of this bullshit.
And that's at its intensity. It started even before then.
Yeah, but in the before it was like
right, yeah.
And then it's like now it's like get the fuck
get out of our face.
Out of my face. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's making me miserable.
And they had a chance. They really had a chance to just get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that maybe this does it.
I hope so.
It feels like it might. I'm a glass half full on it.
Yeah.
So I feel like this may do it. I hope so.
Yeah.
Because I'm just so tired.
Everyone's tired. Everyone is so tired.
I have aged. Like I saw a picture of like Biden aged in the last 4 years. You see me.
I know. I was in New Orleans last week and I went to church. I went to a Catholic
Cool.
Mass.
How was it?
It was beautiful. And it was the oldest Catholic operating church in the U.S.
It must have been amazing.
It was amazing. And this little guy came in, the bishop, and he had like a little staff and a hat, and he was like completely, I was like, wow, this is unique. Anyway, his sermon was about being tired and that you all are working hard and you all are enduring a lot of this heavy burden of life and this onslaught of media, and it's okay. You're allowed. God wants you to just be quiet, just get off the path, take a breath. You're allowed to be tired.
That's really beautiful. I don't believe in God,
were
but
sobbing.
That's gorgeous.
I know, but people were sobbing. They needed, like, I couldn't believe how much impact.
It's true.
Everybody was tearing up because everyone's so tired.
I know. It's just so tired. I think that's why when Kamala was endorsed by Biden, there was like a sense of joy and a real sense of like, here we go. Because I think everyone was like, yes, I'm so tired of all that. Like, it's just like, pick me up and
you
like,
do it.
Yeah, like give me hope and something, because right now I'm so tired.
It's really true. People are really carrying it.
Yeah,
I think even on his side, I think those people are exhausted too.
How, because it's like 8 years of or 12 years of like hate with no reward. Like,
right. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
It's
like where did you end up?
It's the same place.
Did it
not
help
worse? You stormed the Capitol and then went back.
I know.
You got there, you put your feet up, and then you were like, all right.
I'm a little hopeful that, like, driving through New Jersey, I had a show in Atlantic City and drove up to New York, and there's not as much merch out there as it was in the other years.
Merch is there's not in the airports either, which I like. I haven't seen it in the airports.
It's. You think that's a sign?
I hope so. I mean, because at the same time, I drop my kids to sleepaway camp in the backwoods of Pennsylvania, and it's like every house has a Trump thing on the lawns.
Everyone, yeah.
But you're also like, this is like 20 people.
Yeah, that's true. I know.
You're like,
New Jersey was dense with it for.
Yeah, but it's not there anymore. I don't see it now. But I don't know. I just know that I am exhausted from it, and I just want like it to be done.
To be done. I know. That's the bummer about Biden getting old was that he did do that. Like you did.
Yeah, he did an amazing
thinking about.
No,
the president.
it was such a relief.
It was really. He did a good job of just letting you.
He
not
gave me
pay
3
attention
years
to
of
it.
like that's how it should go. The
Yeah.
world should go, and big things should happen, and you go, oh,
Yeah.
oh.
And you're not conjuring up big fake shit.
Yeah,
Along the way.
in
between.
because it's already gonna happen. It's
know.
such a mess. I know. I just want to like.
Yeah, that would be very hopeful. Well, I'm going to send you home with these Pringles.
Thank you. I'm gonna eat them in the car.
Thank you for doing this. It was good hanging out.
Oh, I anytime. I am such a big fan since I was a kid. So I
Yeah.
love I anything you're doing, I'm in.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. The show looks great.
Oh, I can't wait for you to see it. You're gonna love it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, I'm craving. I talk all the time about how there's an absence of comedies
Yeah.
that you just like you can just get into, and
I know.
just from these promos of watching the Olympics.
I mean, the thing that I just am so excited about, Ego and I talk about it all the time, is like, what's the funniest show? Like The Bear?
I know. That's what we're calling comedy.
It's a fucking comedy. You know, like,
Yeah.
we're not going for anything other than to be the funniest show on television.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well,
I hope we get there.
I hope it all works out.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, man. We got it, Mikey.